All right, Grandpa. Now, you and Grandma ended up building the house, if I remember
Right.
correctly. And I would just like to know about this building process and how old you were when you built your first house. And
When Grandma and I first got married, I had been out of the service a couple of years and I had a car. Cars were hard to buy at that time. And we decided that we'd sell our car. It was worth $1,000 and use that $1,000 to start building a home on two lots right next to my parents where they lived. When we got married, they gave me one lot, and Bill and Glenna another lot. Bill and Glenna didn't want theirs, so I bought it from them. So I had two lots to build on. And with $1,000, I started to build a house. And it was amazing how far that $1,000 got me. And during that time, we first lived in a little house. Then Lily's father died, and we moved in with Grandma Schill for a short time, not very long, and lived with her while we were getting the house ready to move in. I worked on that house every night, every morning, and enjoyed it. In fact, when the house was all completed, I probably had done. I never laid the brick for the chimney, and I never put the concrete floor in the basement. I done the plumbing, the heating, the electrical, all the carpenter work, and even the cabinets and everything. I done it all myself and enjoyed it. In fact, sometimes I didn't want other people to help me and louse up what I was doing.
okay. Now, how long did it take you to build?
It was, I think, probably from the time I started it until we moved into it as a finished house was probably almost 3 years.
About 3 years.
But yet, though, it was only 1 year from the time I started till we moved into the basement. And we had an apartment in the basement, and when we moved upstairs, I rented the apartment to Keith Larson and his wife Darlene, and they lived in our basement when they first got married. That gave us a little bit extra money, not a lot, but and then too, that was the house that I used the bedroom in the one end of the basement by the driveway as my first store, first place where we put inventory, conduit fittings and furnace fittings and wire and such. Wasn't big, but I didn't have a lot of money to buy a lot of stuff either. So
How much did the entire house cost, do you think, by the end?
I don't know just exactly how much that house cost, but when I borrowed money on the house from Lauren Lewis. My dad worked for Lauren, and Lauren told Dad one day, he says, "Where's Bob getting the money to build his house?" And Dad said, "Bob's running out of money and he's going to need some." And Lauren said that with the ambition that that boy shows, he said, "You send him to me, I think I can work something out." And he did, and he financed me. And at never any one time did I ever owe Lauren more than $2,700. And I even used him to finance me when I started my business. It was quite interesting.
Yeah.
I think I've told you maybe this story of going to the bank several years later to borrow money, and the banker said, "I don't know. I have no idea. I could probably loan you money to build a bigger shop or buy a bigger shop, but I have no record of your credit, whether your credit's good or bad or what it is. Where did you borrow money from?" if you didn't go through the banks. And I told him Lauren Lewis. And he said, well, Lauren's on our board of directors. I'll talk to him. So he talked to Lauren. When he did, next day he called me and he said, I've talked to Lauren. And Lauren says, you can just loan him any amount that he wants that's within reason, because his credit is A1. And so I've always had good credit at the bank